Greetings, comrades. We discussed the statement by the Minister of Home Affairs in the first video or in the second video that we did after his press conference. We spoke about critical skills visa, and then I received comments to what people were raising. But let me just clarify this before we discuss the general work visa. The procedure, what we know as the correct procedure, is that a foreigner applies for a job in South Africa, whether they are in their country of origin or they are already in South Africa on a visitor's visa. They apply for a job. Once a company offers them a job, but the company has made an offer, it has not employed them. It's an offer on condition that they receive their visa so that they are legal in the country. So such foreigner, in most cases, they have to go back to their country of origin to apply for a visa. Once the visa, which is the critical skills visa, is issued, then they take up employment, because in the application process, they submit proof of a job offer. Then the department will then, if it feels that everything has been done above board and they accept that, then they issue out the visa. What I was then saying was, we have a situation where a person applies for a visa, and mostly children born in South Africa to migrants. They are in South Africa, they are using their country of origin passports, right? They apply, they are on a critical, their qualifications are under critical skills. When they then apply, go for an interview, the company will say, give us your visa, then we'll offer you a job. And the applicant will say, I can't get a visa without an offer letter. So this is what we're saying. But in general terms, what normally happens is that you apply for a job, you go through the interview process. Then the company offers you a job, they give you a letter, which you then take or you attach when you apply for your critical skills visa. So I thought it's necessary that we clarify this, because others were then saying, Comrade Mabena, you are misleading people. That's not the intention of this channel, to mislead, but we are informed by what is obtaining on the ground, because we have dealt with such issues. The minister then spoke of the general worker visa in that press conference that he had during the week. He referred to section 19 bracket 2 of the act. He quoted, and I also quote, says, a general worker visa may be issued by the Director General to a foreigner not falling within the category contemplated in subsection 4 and who complies with the prescribed requirements. Close quote. That is the act where the minister quoted. And then the minister then continued in his press statement, says, I quote, subsection 4 is the one dealing with the critical skills. This means general work is anything that is not covered in the critical skills list. The prescribed requirements mentioned in the Act are found in Regulation 18 bracket 3 of the previous regulation before the amendments. It states that an application for a general work visa shall be accompanied by a letter issued by the prospective employer by the Department of Employment and Labor to the effect that a certificate has been issued to the department confirming that, one, despite a diligent search, the prospective employer has been unable to find a suitable citizen or permanent resident with qualifications or skills and experience equivalent to those of the applicant, close quote. So what the minister was generally saying was that if a company, we can use Coca-Cola as an example, they have a position to fill. They advertise in the newspapers, and this does not fall under critical scheme. But there's no South African or permanent citizen holder, that permanent resident holder who's available for that job. Then they find a foreigner who's available for the job. Then they need to submit that information to the Department of Labor. What we normally know is that you have to submit to the Department of Labor proof of an advertisement that the company did. And then in the responses or the interviews, people that applied to attend interviews or applied for a job attended interviews. So if there were no South African or a holder of a permanent residency visa, then the company, in this case Coca-Cola, then finds a foreigner. They will have to submit all this information to the Department of Labor, and once the Department of Labor is satisfied that indeed there was no South African available or a holder of a permanent resident visa, then a general work visa gets issued to this person, even though it is not under critical skills. I think this is clear. What then happened to the holders of Zimbabwe exemption permits who are applying for a general work visa? This is where the issue of waiver comes in. Because you recall in the earlier videos when the announcement was made in 2001, November 2001, when we're saying holders of ZEP will not qualify. And in early 2002, those that will have applied for waivers have been rejected because they could not get a certificate from the Department of Labor. So the minister had to review that, right? And said every ZEP holder, whether a domestic worker, a farm worker, wherever you work as a domestic worker, and you do not possess what is in the critical skills list, or your qualifications are not in the critical skills list, you then apply for a waiver where they waiver these requirements for a general work visa. That is to say, the requirements to produce a certificate from the Department of Labor, meaning a holder of a ZEP who does no longer have to satisfy the Department of Labor that there's no South African or a holder of a permanent visa who's available to take up employment. Because you are already employed, you are a holder of a ZEP, but before you are granted by the Department of Home Affairs a general work visa, it must first grant you a waiver. This is why holders of ZEP are applying for waivers. So once the labor certificate is waived, then a holder of a ZEP is now clear to apply for a general work visa. We hope we did explain well. Please like this video, subscribe to this YouTube channel. If you are on TikTok, please do follow us. Otherwise,